Now think about, what is your diet like? And are you everybody in America is guarding their physical diet. I mean, we have so many labels on what we eat. I mean, I never knew there were so many different things. In fact, I just read an expose on, what are they called? Hostess Twinkies. There are 32 different items that make up, you know what I mean, those little kind of golden colored, rounded with white stuff in the middle. Did you know that there are 32 different things that make up a Hostess Twinkie, and none of them are natural? None of them, God made none of them. In fact, it said that this man, this reporter from the New York Times, he went to the place where every item in a Hostess Twinkie is manufactured. And he said that he found himself 1,800 feet underground, where they were chipping away in a mine trying to find this preservative that would keep Hostess Twinkies. They will last for 8 months and look as fresh as out of your grandmother's oven, because there is nothing natural in them. It's all artificial. It is fake butter, fake eggs, fake flour, fake everything. In fact, the white stuff is plaster. They sell it in Paris for the walls. And in America, we eat it. And so people are starting to take a little interest in what you're taking in, because what you eat, your body becomes like. And that's where a lot of our sicknesses come from. How much more what you ingest mentally? I mean, we can laugh about the 32 false artificial things in something we rarely eat, a Hostess Twinkie. But what about what you see on a regular basis, what you watch, what you read, what you listen to all the time? Far more deadly. And that's why Satan wants to neutralize us. He uses the world, our flesh, and the devil himself and his demons try to neutralize our godly minds. And grace-energized men know Christ wants to inhabit their thoughts. They want Christ to be at home. Remember how Paul says that Christ may be at home in your hearts. He doesn't mean in your four-chambered little pump that keeps us alive here. He's talking about in our center of our being, from which issues everything. He wants Christ to be at home, it says in Ephesians. You know what that means? Settled down and feeling like he belongs there. Now you say, what would make him not feel like he belongs here? Well, let's turn back to Peter, because Peter speaks about this, 1 Peter chapter 5. And he talks about the constant onslaught of our minds by the most powerful being in the universe, because Satan wants to cause us to be neutralized, to have our mind uncomfortable with our relationship with the Lord. Now, this issues in all of a sudden we lose our spiritual appetite, all of a sudden we lose our assurance of our salvation, all of a sudden we lose our conviction of sin. And all of those symptoms are because Satan is doing his work in the battlefield for our mind. 1 Peter chapter 5, and look at verses 8 and 9. Because I want you to see Peter's impassioned plea to all believers and realize this is not out there somewhere at the Tulsa Zoo when a lion gets loose. This is what you're facing when you woke up this morning. Your first thought was not neutral. Either your first thought was not what you're going to wear, or what pills you're going to take, or what you're going to eat, or how soon you get your coffee. Your first thought should have been just hooking up with the one that owns you, bought you, and wants your attention, and saying, oh God, I have another day. I've awakened. I don't know how much of it I'm going to get, but all of it I consciously give back to you. That's just checking in. You know, if we don't start acknowledging his ownership, having his renewing of that mind, stamping his ownership, saying, that's not your mind, it's mine. I bought it with a price, and I want you to give it to me. Then our minds will just get off in every direction, and so will our lives. 1 Peter chapter 5, let's read verses 8 and 9, and let's ask God to open our hearts to it. 1 Peter 5, you follow along, verse 8. Be sober. That happens to be the first word of Titus 2:2 that we saw 2 times ago. Same word. Be sober. Don't get intoxicated by this world. Be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Peter's writing to Christians, to believers, to born-again, Spirit-indwelt, Jesus Christ living and minded people. And he told them, believers, elect according to the foreknowledge of God, those who were, the chapter 1, beautiful list of those saints and all that Christ had done in them. To those people, he says, watch out. Your adversary, the devil, is going to devour you. Christians are often devoured. And so what are we supposed to do? Just say, oh, okay, I'll lay down, let him eat me. No. Verse 9, resist him, steadfast in the faith. And he goes on to say, this is what's going on throughout all the church. Satan is trying to devour all believers, and all believers are called to resist. Resist. How's your mind this morning? Are you resisting the devil and giving control of it to the Lord? Or are you devoured?